More than anything else, lighting has made the biggest difference in how my videos look. So today I just thought I would take you through my setup, how I light, especially in my A-roll talking headshots. Because if you're getting started with content creation or you're hoping to level up the production quality of your videos, then changing your lighting will honestly make the biggest difference. It will make a bigger difference than getting a new camera or any other type of gear you can buy. If you can get good lighting, it will make a dramatic difference. And just for reference, this is what this shot looks like when I've just got the ceiling lights turned on. As you can see, or not see, it's pretty average. So let me turn everything back on and I'll take you through how I set it all up. Okay, so the first thing I always think about in this shot is ceiling lighting, which is what I just mentioned. I always make sure that's turned off because as you could see before, it gives you terrible shadows. It looks terrible. Don't recommend it. So turn your ceiling lights off. That's step number one. And then from there, my main light is this light right here, which is a Molus G200, and I've got it attached to an Aperture Light Dome 2, which is the big soft box you can see. Now, honestly, if you want the light that will make the biggest difference, getting a proper key light is that light. And if you can set it up with a soft box of some sort, obviously, generally the bigger the better, but something like this is a great size. You can also get smaller ones, which will also do a great job, but basically they just soften the light and diffuse it. So you don't get those harsh shadows like you do from the ceiling lights, and everything just looks really soft and smooth on your face. Now, I obviously sit just here and I look towards the camera just over there. So I'm holding the camera currently, but I always have it attached to that tripod you can see just behind my desk. And this is where I recommend setting up your key light. So just above you to one side, and then at a roughly 45-degree angle down towards you. That's going to give you the most flattering light that will also look natural. You can use a honeycomb grid like this if you've got one. That just helps direct it more towards you so you don't get as much spill. As you can see in the background, so you've got that separation. So this kind of acts almost like a spotlight. So it's not lighting up too much of my background, but it's lighting up me. But you can also leave off a honeycomb grid like this if you want the whole scene to be brighter. You're going for more of a light vibe. For me, I kind of like the dark and moody vibe in my videos. That's why I've got the grid. That's definitely a matter of personal preference. And honestly, if you just start there, that will make a huge difference. Now, the second thing to think about when you're using a key light like this, especially when you have it up to one side, is that it's going to create more shadow on one side of your face than the other. And so what can happen, let me give you an example, is it can get a little bit too dramatic. That's a little bit too moody for me. So I kind of want it a bit more evenly lit so it's not such a big contrast. So literally what I do is I use my computer monitor. So I just open up my Notes app, just like that. And then as you can see, that actually fills out that side of my face. So this is with it and without, without. You can see it makes a pretty dramatic difference, but it just evens out the light on my face, so it's not quite so extreme. This is really easy for me because I sit right next to my monitor when I'm filming, but if you don't have a monitor, just use anything that will add a soft light to this side that's the opposite of your main key light. So you could even use something like a white sheet, a big white piece of paper. Generally, something that will just reflect a little bit of the light from your main key light is perfect. If you use a whole second light, you can do that, but then you get kind of a different look. So that's what I recommend, just something that will reflect a bit of light back so it's not quite as dramatic. And then last but not least, you can see there's like this little bit of a rim here, this lighting here. And that is created with this LED light, which I have setting up on top of my bookshelf. So I don't have it set up on any fancy stand or anything. It's literally just sitting up there on top of the bookshelf. And that shines down directionally right on top of my head. Basically, at kind of another 45-degree angle. So it's kind of like the opposite angle to my main key light. And like I said, this is known as a rim light or a hair light. This is a Cinepia CX100. And honestly, you don't need something as fancy as this. For the first few years of my content, I actually just used this lamp. I'll literally just turn this around, face it towards the back of my head, and that was my rim light for years. So you can just use what you've already got. You don't have to go out and spend more money, but this has been really good, in particular because it's quite directional, because it's got that hood on it. And that will really take your lighting to the next level. It will just help to separate you from the background much more clearly, because that's really, at the end of the day, the main thing you're looking for when it comes to lighting. Bad lighting is going to mean that you kind of blend in with the background. So for example, even here, because I've got kind of light stuff behind me, the overall frame just looks a bit flat. Whereas when I've got a darker background behind me like this, I kind of stand out, like pop out a bit more. And that's kind of what you're looking for when it comes to lighting. And then a rim light like this one up here just accentuates that even more, because you can see there's a clear line between me and the background, which is darker. And that's kind of the whole key to good lighting. And then last but not least, this one is really easy and also kind of one of my favorite parts. You've got what's known as practical lights. And this is basically just lighting that adds some visual interest in the background of your frame. So I use this light here because I think it just adds a nice warm glow to the background. Also use my old lamp, which I've had for years. That also helps to light up this picture frame in the background and a little plant. So that just adds some visual interest to the background of my frame. And I've also got this LED panel here, which just rotates around. And I use that to kind of light up this section of the background in my frame. Again, just for some visual interest to make my background look a bit more interesting. So that's kind of the effect of these three lights. They're not actually designed to light me. They're kind of designed to light my environment and to make it look more interesting, a bit more homely, hopefully, a bit more inviting. Again, you can do whatever you like in terms of practical lights like this. Just do what suits you, what suits your vibe. I used to use this cloud, which the OGs of my channel will recognize. I used to have that in the background just over here. So you can use whatever suits you. Just try to make sure it's dim enough like this so that's not interfering with your main actual lights. They're gonna light you as the subject. So there you go. That is my entire lighting setup. I hope that helps you come up with your own setup for your own YouTube studio or any type of lighting that you're trying to do. If you're interested in learning more, especially about my main key light, I've done a review of the Molus G200, which you can see right here. Definitely recommend checking it out, even just to give you some ideas on the types of lights that you might be able to buy for your own setup.